rare and balanced view on politics in today's world. Based on facts, born of rationality, common sense, and logic, providing context on today's events. This is American Perspective with Rick Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to American Perspective. I am your host, Rick. Well, the DOJ got a shakeup today. We'll talk a little bit about that. And toward the end of the program, I still have a stick in my craw when it comes to this whole birthright citizenship thing. So I got I know I'm getting to a point where you guys are getting tired of this, but I've got a different angle on it that I think you guys are going to enjoy. At least maybe they haven't thought about it yet. And also last night we played Trump's speech about Iran. So I got a little bit on that, a little bit more on that today as well. But first, oh yes, a burr in my saddle. Thank you. I do have a burr in my saddle for this. But first, I got to make sure that I didn't screw up the. Yeah, okay. So I did put it in right. All right. So tonight's Pledge of Allegiance is none other than G. That's right. G is on the couch. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He might be there. I don't know. I haven't seen Ms. T in the chat yet. And Ms. T usually follows with G. Or G usually follows with Ms. T. Whatever. Anyway, there's a lot of pink in the chat because of Ms. T. So thank you very much for that, Ms. T. I do appreciate that. Pink, by the way, for everybody that doesn't know, is the subscriptions. She gifted a bunch of subscriptions here recently, and so there you go. You each have a subscription to my channel. Not that it really gives you anything other than nice, pretty pink background. But anyway, all right, let's go ahead and hit things off with tonight's pledge done by none other than G. He's over in the green room over here getting himself all ready. And we'll go ahead and get things kicked off properly for him. But if you are of mind, please stand, remove your hat if you're wearing one like me. Place your hand over your heart and follow along with G as he recites the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And, of course, I thank I thank him for submitting that wonderful pledge. If you would like to hear your rendition of the pledge played here on the program, all you need to do is record yourself reciting or performing the pledge in your style. Take that audio file, video file, whatever kind of file, and attach it to an email. And then address that email off to me. Send it to fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. That's fans, F-A-N-S, at AmericanPerspective.online. And I will get you into the rotation. If you create a file that's too big to email, you can use one of the fantastic, free versions of online drives like Google Drive, Box, or Dropbox. Any one of the three will let you create a link, and then you send me the link, and then I download it and do what I need to do from there. If you record it on your phone, you can utilize the share option. That's the S-H-A-R-E option. And put in fans at AmericanPerspective.online, and that will also get it to me as well. 3 Chevy says if you create a file that's too big, use 2 stamps instead of just 1. Anyway, so yeah, there you go. That's how you get it to me. All right, folks, let's get to the tonight's headline sponsor. which is the Institute on the Constitution. That's interesting. That came up. I'm surprised. Anyway, the Institute on the Constitution, which of course is a 501c3 nonprofit that has one singular mission, and that is to restore the constitutional republic through grassroots education. Through grassroots education from a biblical worldview. Now, how do they do that? Well, they request that you start off by praying. Ooh. You can go and get to them, by the way, going to theamericanview.com. I got to remember to do that. Anyway, theamericanview.com is their website. Theamericanview.com. That's theamericanview, all one word, .com. And you head on over there and you'll learn about how to restore the republic, they say, in 3 easy steps. Step number 1, of course, is to pray. Pray for all kinds of things, including your country. Pray and unite with Christians from around the country who are praying fervently for America. You can even sign up and get prayers sent, daily prayers sent right to your inbox. The second thing is to study. Well, what do you study? Well, you study our history. You study our founding documents. You study to gain yourself and get yourself educated on our Constitution in particular. That's the first step that they recommend that you do. And you can do that really easily by going to the study, click on study, and go to the U.S. Constitution course. Sign up for it right here in this white box above my head in the video. And you enter your first name, last name, and your email address, and they will send you all 12 of the U.S. Constitution course lessons directly to your inbox. It's 100% free, 100% online, 100% nationally recognized. It's a fantastic course. Each lesson is roughly 15 to 20 minutes long, so it's really not that hard to do. Excuse me. It's really not that hard to do. And once you're done with that, of course, you can go and check out their other courses. They have 4 or 5 core courses that they deal with. You can take them either live, which is what they recommend. You definitely go and take them live in there. And they have them all over the country. You can check all that out by scrolling down, and you'll be able to see, hey, you've got the U.S. Constitution course there, the truth of America's founding, your heritage and mine, yeah. So they've got them all over the place. You can go and check it out. They've got them in Ohio, Maryland, Delaware, South Dakota. They're all over the place. In fact, the South Dakota one is going on, if it isn't over with yet. It happened today. But anyway, like I was saying, you can go and check all of that out. And then, of course, the third step to help restore this constitutional republic is to act. You can act by either taking a class, you can act by becoming a member, or even better yet, you can act by becoming an instructor for the Institute on the Constitution. Take all of that wonderful knowledge that you have gained through their courses and spread the word, baby, across the United States. Let's go ahead and spread the word. Become an instructor. They have a video on it right here, how to become an IOTC instructor. And then they also give you 5 tips for a successful class. You can go and grab their their instructor manuals right here. And you can also buy those instruction manuals in their shop. Now, if you head over to their shop, you'll get the opportunity to see not only their Constitution course and other educational resources. They have apparel, they have the instructor materials that I mentioned before, but they also have my personal favorite right above my head again. Woohoo, right there in the video. It's known as the Legacy Library. And within that Legacy Library is a bunch of leather. Oh, I love these leather options. The Legacy Library. It is just fantastic. They've got a leather Declaration of Independence, leather Bill of Rights, leather Magna Carta. They have the leather U.S. Constitution. Man, I would love to get a hold of all of those. It would be fantastic. I don't know where I'd hang them, but man, it would be awesome to have. Anyway, in lieu of that, you can get this absolutely fantastic, awesome little book right here. It's the leather-bound, pocket-sized, leather-bound U.S. Constitution. And each purchase, this is according to 3 Chevy, one of my Whiskey Warrior P1s, each purchase of the aforementioned rounded-cornered Saddleback leather book will cause a liberal to feel like they've gotten hit by Trump's discombobulator, which, of course, was used in Venezuela, supposedly. Bonnie, another Whiskey Warrior P1, calls out the sexy rounded corners. But let's take a look at this thing. We've got 1/8 of an inch of Saddleback leather wrapped around pages that are water and tear resistant. No cheap glue here, folks. This is stitched all the way through the leather and the pages contained within. It's got a 100-year warranty against materials and manufacturing defects, such that if something does go wrong with this product in that time frame, you can send it back to the manufacturer and they will either fix it or replace it for free. It is Buddy tested, Buddy approved, Billy tasted, Billy approved. My youngest Whiskey Warrior has confirmed that the information contained within will help you study for and achieve your civics badge in Scouts, as well as your civics exam. And hey, might as well do your naturalization test over this as well. Naturalization, let me tell you. You can do that all out of this wonderful little leather Constitution book. It's a fantastic book. You can hand it down. It's in the Legacy Library. You can get it by heading to theamericanview.com. That's theamericanview.com. Go to the Legacy Library and pick up that leather Constitution book. They also have a leather pocket gospel set, which is really, really cool. But anyway, you can go and check that out at the Legacy Library when you go to theamericanview.com and click shop in the upper right-hand corner. Head on over to theamericanview.com, take a look at all of their offerings, and I thank them for being a sponsor of the show. That is the Institute on the Constitution at theamericanview.com. That's theamericanview.com. All righty. Well, we talked last night about the executive order that Trump put out and signed. I showed you the video of him signing the executive order with regards to the mail-in ballot fraud. And if you recall, I did say, well, it's not going to take them long to sue. It didn't take long at all. In fact, every single Democrat that is out there, including my Democrat governor here in the state of Washington, yeah, they all jumped on board and were all like, hey, we're going to sue. In fact, Schumer and Jeffries, through the DNC, decided to sue over this. I got to show this picture, because if this doesn't demonstrate to you how awful these people are, I mean, look at what Schumer looks like here. Holy smokes. Look at him. He looks like he is just Mr. Evil with hair and glasses in this particular case. Can't even imagine how somebody could be this evil. But anyway, Schumer and Jeffries have decided to sue through the DNC. And they filed a federal lawsuit today to block this executive order that was cracking down on, no, I don't believe that's AI. I think this was a still frame from one of his press conferences or whatever. If it is AI, it's a good AI. I'll say that much. But anyway, so, yeah. Oh, yeah, this guy, it's just, I mean, yeah. Anyway, they've decided to sue over the executive order. Now, the executive order, of course, said that the Department of Homeland Security had to come up with or create shall we say, something like an approved voters list for all of those who are voting in mail or by mail. Obviously, the attempt is to try and push for the SAVE Act to get done, obviously. But in the lieu of the SAVE Act, he's hoping to secure, or at least attempt to secure, the 2026 midterm elections that are coming up. And so, yeah, he's now, again, being a strict constitutionalist, I'm just going to point out, I don't exactly think this executive order is going to pass court muster. And I'm not talking about just a leftist lunatic federal court judge. I actually even think that if it hits the appeals court, it's something, because the Constitution is fairly clear when it comes to elections. The states have control, and all of this is under Article 1, Section 4 in the Constitution. The states have control up until and unless the Congress decides to modify any laws or regulations or rules and regulations through legal means, meaning creating legislation to do so. I mean, this is part of the reason why the SAVE Act is even possible at this point. So as much as I hate to agree with the Democrats, I honestly don't think this is going to be able to go through very easily, because the executive does not have the power to just willy-nilly come up with election law, unfortunately. And actually that's a, built-in part of the Constitution. It is designed that way. And so, again, as much as I think it's funny that he's doing it and is able to get it going, I honestly think that the Democrats actually have a case here with regards to this. But of course, it's going to take a while for it to matriculate through the court system. So, and it may even go all the way up to the Supreme Court. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah. I personally think the executive order is kind of a shot across the bow. Again, Trump's got to keep the Democrats on their heels. He's got them there, and so he's trying to keep them in the ropes for it. So, yeah, I think I honestly think that's part of the problem, or part of the reason. But anyway, so yeah, he went ahead and did that, and of course, the lawsuit, the groups named in the lawsuit, they basically contend that Trump is trying to rewrite election laws for his own, or election rules, I should say, for his own perceived partisan advantage. Well, not like they didn't rewrite all of the gerrymandering in the states to get, multiple seats when they shouldn't be, or the whole concept of, like, illegal aliens, let a whole bunch of them in right before the census so that the census can all of a sudden count a crap ton of people that don't have any voting rights whatsoever. But yet the apportionment rules as a part of the Constitution come into play. And so, places like New York and California and the rest of those all of a sudden get seats when they shouldn't have them. And then, of course, they make the census all screwed up and counted wrong in 2020, which, of course, has already been called out. And, well, yeah, it's just one thing after another. But anyway, hey, pot, meat, kettle, whatever. All right. So, yeah. So, again, they're sitting here and they're talking with all of this and talking about this. So, anyway, Trump's executive order, by the way, really doesn't really change much. I mean, it basically outlines, and it says the right to vote in federal elections is reserved exclusively for citizens of the United States under Constitution and federal law. So, I mean, he's just trying to make it secure, which he should. I mean, that's part of his job, is to enforce the law. That's it. That's his entire job. is to enforce the laws as they are written, and that is definitely, and the Constitution, and that definitely is one of them. All right, well, Trump did a primetime address on Iran last night, and honestly, it was probably one of his shorter speeches, and he was very, very, very attached to the teleprompter in this case. And so, not that that's a bad thing, it's just it wasn't his typical forte. He didn't diverge from the teleprompter very much, things of that nature. But there are some key points that he did get across. Number one is that core strategic objectives are nearing completion. So, he's basically saying that the main reasons as to why they are in there, these strategic pieces are coming into place and they are nearing completion, which of course that kind of tells everybody, tells the world realistically that, hey, this isn't a long-standing, long-running war where our objectives are coming close. We've almost obtained all of our objectives. And once we do, then we're pretty much done. And that's kind of what he's saying there. U.S. forces have reported striking more than 155 Iranian vessels, which is their navy. Their navy's gone. They have been they've been cutting down missile production and capacity. And another one was his breaking up support for regional proxies, meaning Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, and any other terrorist proxies. He's planning on breaking that up. And, of course, preventing it from obtaining a nuclear weapon. Now, keep in mind, Iran kind of brought this on themselves when they walked into the negotiating table and when Trump tried to renegotiate with them a new deal. And when they basically said, hey, we have a nuclear weapon, or not a nuclear weapon, but we have enough nuclear material that we can make 11 nuclear weapons out of it. Yeah, it's like, okay. So obviously that sort of pushed the buttons. And anyway, he made it clear, and actually he's been very clear since all the way back to the 80s. I mean, there's video of him essentially saying the exact same thing. We never should have negotiated with Iran. We never should have backed off of Iran, even under Ronald Reagan, all the way back to the Carter administration. We never should have backed him off. We should have gone in and flattened him from the get-go. And he's been pretty clear on all of this for, basically decades. So none of this should really be surprising about that. But he did say that, hey, we've eliminated a lot of your nuclear facilities. We've eliminated your capability. We've eliminated your capability to, create nuclear weapons. So we're going to keep an eye on you. And if you start it back up, well, we're going to come right back in and flatten you once again. So he said, basically, let me be clear, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon in his mind. So, there you go. Let's see. He has threatened to hit the energy plants, the existing energy plants of Iran, if no deal is reached. So that means come to the table. Come to the table now, and we need to make a deal. Because if we don't make a deal, we're just going to continue to pound you until that deal is done. He's like, we have all the cards. We've eliminated your ballistic missiles for the most part. We've eliminated, your capability of striking people. We've taken that out. And by the way, don't get me wrong. I mean, well, it's not don't get me wrong, but don't misunderstand this. Iran's been lying about their ballistic missile capability. That was proven by them trying to hit a base that was twice as far as what they claimed their capability actually was with their ballistic missiles. So don't sit here and tell me that in the case of Iran that, oh my gosh, this is just, oh, this is a big guy going to beat up a little guy. No, he's not. These people have been lying to us for 47 years. And Donald Trump is the first individual, first president who's actually had the balls to do something about it. So there you go. And the fourth point is that, hey, don't worry about the Hormuz Strait, which right now is basically closed. And it's, they're having all kinds of issues with it, which is 20% of the world's oil goes through that strait. Just think about that. 1/5 of the entire world's consumption of oil goes through that strait. And as of right now, it's, somewhat closed. He says that the Hormuz Strait will open up naturally once this conflict is over. So, yeah. And there you go. That was the points that he made, and he did it in a very short period of time. He was, I think, active on the screen for maybe 15, possibly 20 minutes at the most. Well, Iran couldn't be upstaged. Iran came back and, of course, had their bravado put up because they unleashed, according to Breitbart, unleashed a torrent of spittle-flecked threats and invective against the U.S. after his White House speech. So anyway, so hours obviously before the address, Trump posted on Truth Social that that Iran had asked the United States for a ceasefire, and he basically said, hey, we'll consider it when the Hormuz Strait is open, free, and clear, but until then, we're going to keep blasting you back into the Stone Ages. Iran's immediate response, their response was immediate denial, with Israeli air defenses pressed into action and police responding to several impact sites, as 4 people were reportedly lightly injured in Tel Aviv. Anyway, they also put out a long list of threats against the U.S., which they've also talked about for many years, delivering absolutely nothing but their typical crap that they've been putting it out. One of their generals, Hossein Salami, it's spelled salami. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, but anyway, says that he seeks revenge against the U.S. that's going to be hard, firm, regrettable, decisive, and complete. Yeah. Anyway, the Iranian foreign ministry spokesperson, Ismail Bakay, quoted by the Israel, I think it's the Iranian news agency on Thursday, says, messages have been received through intermediaries, including Pakistan, but there is no direct negotiation with the U.S. So I don't know who's Trump is talking to, but yeah, whatever. So anyway, so there you go. I don't understand. This is just this may or may not last for very much longer. I mean, let's be honest here. We're only about 30 days, maybe 30 plus days into the war, and he's got, 60 plus days plus an additional 30 to withdraw troops from the region without having to declare war under the War Powers Act. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll see what's going to happen. All right. Before I get on to my next topic, let me go ahead and talk to you about Let's see which one. Yeah, go ahead and do this. All right. So something that you need to think about that many people experienced, believe it or not, during the Biden era in particular, because keep in mind, Biden and the Democrats, they were the ones that were being the, shall we say, dictators of this whole thing. And just keep in mind that if you keep money in banks, they can freeze your accounts, they can shut off your cards, they can lock you out of your own money overnight. Banks, they're not going to protect you. They obviously control your money. And this is why real financial freedom starts with ownership. So, toward that end, Rumble has created and is introducing the Rumble Wallet, a non-custodial wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, which is real gold, on your blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This isn't an IOU. This is real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. That's power. And when you support creators on Rumble, you can actually tip them directly using Rumble Wallet, peer-to-peer, and outside of the banking system. There's no permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet itself is yours forever. Click on the QR code or click the QR code right over here. I keep messing this up. Right over here. Click on that QR code or go to wallet, WALLET, wallet.rumble.com. That's wallet.rumble.com to get more information and more details. And you can also download Rumble Wallet direct from both of the app stores. Rumble Wallet. Go and check it out. Wallet.rumble.com. Go and check it out and see if that's something that you'd be interested in this age of potential censorship. Go to wallet.rumble.com and check it out today. All right. One thing that I think a lot of people have sort of misread in terms of this idea of birthright citizenship, and I'm speaking in specifics with regards to things like somebody coming here, dropping a baby, having that baby be a U.S. citizen just by being born here in the United States, being taken back to that foreign entity and raised under those foreign entity rules, regulations, perhaps even indoctrination, and then coming back here to the United States and having foreign influence now within a American citizen who can vote, and having a lot of these people all wrapped up, coming from potentially even the exact same country. There was a Pew Research study that just got published. And it basically states that about 9% of the U.S. births in 2023 were to unauthorized or temporary legal immigrant mothers. Meaning that 9% came from immigrants who are not U.S. citizens here in the United States. And as a part of that, at the same time, there was a case out in California where a California woman, my bad, was sentenced to more than 3 years in prison because they were running a business that was essentially bringing Chinese women, pregnant Chinese women, to the United States to deliver their babies so that they could automatically become American citizens. Now, most of the time you would think about that and go, oh, okay, American citizens. All right, whatever. 9%. That's not much. But think about this. If you don't think about the short game, think about the long game. Now, think about the replacement theory that the left has been pushing for. They want to get rid of people who are English, meaning English descendants. In other words, white people here in the country. They want to get rid of our Christian-based faith here in this country. They want to get rid of our conservative values in this country. This is nothing shocking to anybody who has actually listened to a leftist lunatic Democrat. But here's the thing. It may not happen today. It may not happen tomorrow. But this has been ongoing for a little bit of time, and we're within a few short years of when these people who have already been through this and have received birthright citizenship as it stands, as defined today, they have been taken back to China and are being raised as Chinese. What do you think China wants to do to America? They want to get rid of America. They want actually not just to get rid of us, they want to knock us off as the world superpower. They want to be the superpower. They want to be the money of America, not the US dollar. But they want to control the world. That's what they're destined to do. Now, this has been explained in multiple that by the way, that birth tourism thing, that was in CNN. It was a Associated Press story. So this is a leftist newspaper that is, or a news outlet that is bringing this to the forefront. The Chinese Communist Party has been exploiting birthright citizenship for years. Now, here's the thing. Okay. I just pointed out voting. How about this? Under Article 2 of the United States Constitution, and I'm going to go a little bit in terms of, I'm going to go to my instructor phase, my U.S. history instructor phase. But here, under Article 2, for the presidency in the U.S. Constitution, it states, no person except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States at the time of the adoption of this Constitution shall be eligible to the office of president. Now think about that for a second. We have basically birth tourism mills coming from China to create United States citizens. Now, one thing that isn't defined in the Constitution at all is what natural born actually means. Now, natural born, in fact, the phraseology itself isn't really well defined. However, it comes from at least the closest official first record all the way back to when the Constitutional Convention was in play. See, there was this guy, he was a founding father, or, well, in this case, a framer of the Constitution. His name was John Jay. John Jay was a former delegate of New York to the Continental Congress, but unfortunately, he was not elected to go to the Constitutional Convention because of the fact that his viewpoints were relatively disagreed upon by his state legislature. Because if you recall in history, the state legislators elected the delegates from each state to go to this Constitutional Convention in order to create a new constitution after the Articles of Confederation was woefully inept. So John Jay, and you may recall his name because he was one of the authors of the Federalist Papers with Alexander Hamilton and James Madison. James Madison being the recognized as and known as the father of the Constitution. Well, John Jay was a good friend to George Washington. And George Washington, who was at the Constitutional Convention, he was actually the president of the convention at the time. And John Jay wrote a letter dated July 25th, 1787 to George Washington. And he says this: "Permit me to hint whether it would not be wise and seasonable to provide a strong check to the admission of foreigners into the administration of our national government, and to declare expressly that the command-in-chief of the American Army shall not be given to, nor devolve on, any but a natural-born citizen." Now, what he's saying here is he's basically saying to George Washington, hey, our president should not be born with ties to another foreign entity or foreign power. See, the original framers of the Constitution were all cognizant of and very wary at the same time of foreign influence in the American government, the newly American government. In fact, it was so important to John Jay and the other framers of the Constitution that Federalist number 2, John Jay. Federalist number 3, authored John Jay. Federalist number 4, authored John Jay. Federalist number 5, John Jay. All of these, so 2, 3, 4, and 5. The first 4, outside of the general introduction, the first 4 Federalist Papers that were written were done on the subject of concerning the dangers from foreign force and influence. Folks, if you want to read and understand where John Jay was coming from, you need to read Federalist numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5. He clearly was outlining the reason why we cannot have foreign interference in our elections and in our government is because we need to ensure that whoever is in there is for the American people and not for any other foreign force. Folks, this is important. This is historically accurate and important. They did not want any foreign influence to be a part of it. And it is because of John Jay's comment in that letter that historians believe that's where the Article 2 requirement of being natural born and using that specific phraseology is why it became a natural born requirement for the president of the United States. The people, we sit here and we talk about, oh, being a natural born citizen, but that isn't really ever really defined. And being a natural born citizen could mean and be taken to mean born of American citizen parents, meaning that your citizenship is naturally derived from your lineage, your parentage. This thought process goes against the idea that the 14th Amendment was to apply to anybody who just happens to be dropped within the territory of the United States. But it does align with the administration's point of, hey, it is more than just where you are born that makes you a citizen. And that's the whole point. This fight over birthright citizenship goes beyond just allowing people to be American citizens. This goes beyond the idea of, yeah, we just need people, more immigrants, more citizens. Yeah, just bring them all in. No, this is a fight that must be won in order to save the American government, the American way of life, to ensure that no foreign influence can be put into place. So let me tie this back if I haven't made it clear. The Chinese Communist Party has people coming over here creating birth tourism places in America to get children that are U.S. citizens under the currently accepted format. They are then taking those children, taking them back to China, raising them in the Chinese culture, the Chinese thought process, indoctrinating them into the Chinese way. And I can almost guarantee you, once they come of age, they're going to come right back here, probably with assignments of who to vote for and what to vote for. And I'll bet you there may even be one or two or multiples that come here to America and run for the presidency in the future, having no intent of being an American president. This is so bad, people. This is so bad. And to sit here and think that, hey, this is, it's just people, it's just so immigrants can come here and become American citizens and benefit our... No. This could be part of a long-term coordinated effort. Now, if you sit here, if you have any thought process, I used the Chinese Communist Party as an example, but they're not the only ones. They're not the only ones. Think of all the Islamists, the Muslim extremists who have come here and are living here right now, that are dropping babies that are now U.S. citizens. Anybody want to take a guess? There's a mayor in New York that just got elected who's a Muslim. He's just the first step. And the Islamists have clearly stated, without equivocation, that they want to destroy America, that they want to destroy the Western world. and they want to have Sharia law, which is specifically against everything that the Constitution has. They want Sharia law to be taken over. See, this birthright citizenship thing, they frame it as though it's just something very simple. No, this is a opening. It has been a weak spot opening for many, many years because of the misinterpretation of the simple 14th Amendment phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, which is clear. When you look at the debates, it is clear that the 14th Amendment framers all agreed with John Jay and the founders and the framers of the Constitution that foreign influence is dangerous in our government. And that to be in America and to be an American citizen is beyond just where your butt got dropped out of the womb. It is an allegiance. It is a tie. It is more than just where you are born. It is who you are born to. It is who you owe your allegiance to. Folks, this idea of birthright citizenship just birthright citizenship just means somebody in the country. No, it doesn't. It's beyond that. It goes all the way back. I've been talking about it. This is the third night that I've brought this up. This is the third night that I've been talking about it. We got to get out of this mindset that it's just because, it's just English common law. No, if it was English common law, then why would the Federalists, those who framed the Constitution, why would they be so concerned about the dangers of foreign force and influence in their country that they just recently liberated from a foreign influencer? Why would they dedicate 4 of the Federalist Papers to the same exact subject? I can't even, I mean, if you're not seeing the dots that I'm putting out for you and connecting here, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's move on. So, Pam Bondi has been let go as Attorney General. She apparently is moving from the Attorney General slot and being a government employee. She is apparently moving into private practice. And as of right now, the President of the United States announced it on Truth Social by saying, "We love Pam, and she will be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector to be announced at a date in the near future." And our Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanke, or Blanche, however it's freaking pronounced, a very talented and respected legal mind, will step in and serve as acting Attorney General until such time as we can get somebody in, of course. So we'll have to see how this changes in certain things, how this changes certain stuff that's going on. But apparently Pam Bondi is leaving the administration. Now, she herself came out with a response on X, and she says, "Over the next month, I will be working tirelessly to transition the office of Attorney General to amazing Todd Blanke before moving to an important private sector role that I am thrilled about and where I will continue fighting for President Trump and this administration." So she basically is saying that, hey, this was this is a lateral move, I guess, private sector, government to private sector. It doesn't appear to be, from my perspective, it doesn't appear to be like he is forcing her out. But that being said, though, we do have a long litany of lists of things that she has sort of screwed up. And there is the entire possibility that Donald Trump is not happy with the fact that the DOJ hasn't gone after some of his political opponents yet, as well as her handling or mishandling of the Epstein files case. So we'll have to kind of see where this goes. But as of this point, yes, Pam Bondi will be leaving the Department of Justice and taking care of that. Now, there is a suggestion through sources, and again, these are unnamed sources, so take it as a grain of salt, that there is a possibility that Tulsi Gabbard may be on the list for getting ousted as well. So we'll have to see. Now, keep in mind, Tulsi Gabbard's been kind of on the fence. They've been talking about her getting ousted for a while, and Trump publicly has been saying that he is not planning on letting her go at all. But we'll have to see what ends up happening. Trump reportedly polled cabinet officials over the past few weeks about the possibility of replacing Tulsi, according to The Guardian, which cited 2 people briefed on the discussions, which means that's a third person outside of those discussions. So, yeah. Anyway, the ODNI spokesperson told Just the News that over the past 2 weeks, President Trump has said that he has confidence in the DNI and that she did well at her hearings before Congress. She remains committed to fulfilling the responsibility the president placed in her to protect the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. So we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see what happens here. But don't get me wrong. I mean, Pam Bondi was kind of an obvious one. You know, she hasn't really been all that stellar. Let's be honest. Her going up against Congress, she was very argumentative and everything else. And things of that nature. So I have a feeling that is potentially where some of this is coming from. But basically just that all of the things have been stacked up enough that it's finally gotten to the point where it's over and done with. And in our final closing minutes, I do have news that apparently there may be a deal in the works between the House, the Senate, and the White House with regards to DHS funding. Apparently, all 3 of those folks, Mike Johnson, John Thune, and the White House all basically said that, hey, we're going to make a deal. We're going to pull out the Border Patrol and ICE funding, and we're going to separate those. We're going to put that funding and the funding for the rest of the DHS onto a parallel track. And this way, the ICE funding and the Border Patrol funding will actually be pushed through under the auspices of a reconciliation bill, which means that can be passed by both the House and the Senate if just all of the Republicans vote yes. So it is not a reconciliation bill by the Senate rules, is not subject to the 60-vote filibuster. And so therefore, what would end up happening, or what could possibly be happening, is that they still get all of DHS funded, TSA, Coast Guard, so on and so forth, and they will gain the additional monies that they need for ICE and Border Patrol, which the Democrats have been fighting against, specifically the ICE, okay, on a different bill, which allows them to go to just a simple majority for the ICE and Border Patrol versus the rest of the DHS funding, which is pretty much what the Democrats have been wanting, but it's been held up for a while with regards to this. So now maybe Trump and the House Republicans and the House or the Senate Republicans are kind of manipulating things to put the ball into their favor. So we may see the end of the DHS problem coming up in the near future. Alrighty, folks, that is it for me for this evening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, head on over to rumble.com, get yourself an account. It is free. And once you are signed up and signed in, make sure that you search up the American Perspective channel and hit that green follow button to get notified every time that I go live. Also, too, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a thumb sideways across all of all of my platforms, whether it's X, Facebook, YouTube, or, of course, the aforementioned Rumble. We will see you tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on American Perspective. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night, everybody.